What's up, everyone? Scotty from Chernobyl Studios, and today we are talking about a brand new amp simulator that's come on the market just today from Softube. It is called the Metal Amp Suite. I should have had it open here because that would have been even more epic, but we're not going to redo the intro. So here it is. Now, you obviously were just listening to the song that I made. All the guitar tones in that song are exclusively from this. I did not use third-party IRs, nothing. All the guitars are in here. And obviously I've done some work in the DAW for EQ and such, which I'm going to show you right now. First and foremost, I must say that Softube sent this to me months ago to look at, to work through their beta, give them feedback, and they are sponsoring this video, so that means they are paying for this video. Just want to be upfront with you, all right? Before we get into everything else, I just want to remind you that I have a Patreon, okay? It's one tier. It's $7. It's basically free. And today, a video also drops of me recording the guitars for the song that you just heard, as well as lots of other stuff in the background, EQing real clients, recording real guitar projects, editing vocals, mixing vocals, drum programming. I even was able to put the first look at the Extinction Level event Drums 2.0 in the Patreon. Everything, guys. So the Patreon, link down below. Like I said, one tier. It's basically free. Okay, so the Metal Amp Suite is Softube's newest offering. So it's not exactly like completely, what should I say, like brand new stuff. Some of the things that they've already has already been out there. They've just made a suite, you know, that's like, okay, here are the amps for metal in particular. Like if you want to do metal, here's what we're gonna do. Now, I am on the M1 Mac, and obviously it works natively. I tested it. I'm just using a few other plugins right now that only work for Rosetta still. Really annoying, but it does work natively on M1. And down here, basically, we've got 4 different selections, and they are kind of what you would assume it would be. It would be the Mesa. It'd be your Angle. It's going to be a PV of some sort, and then the Marshall. Now, Marshall being the only one where it seems they have some sort of agreement where they can use the actual logos and stuff like that. So I'm assuming every purchase that you make here, some percentage of it goes to Marshall, which I think is cool. If I ever make plugins in the future with Spectre Digital, I would love to get in contact with the companies and you know, I think it's fair. I mean, this is pretty clear. It's an Angle. You know, I should probably say Angle here so that Angle could get some money, you know, for the sound that they're known for, but whatever. Okay. Now, the whole point of this suite is it's supposed to be all-encompassing in here. So I just want to go over the GUI really quick, and then I'll show you what I did in the song, how I mixed it, and then we will go over the IRs a little bit and develop a guitar tone in real time. Okay. So here we have the pre-section with a truckload of pedals. Every pedal you can think of, okay? An interesting thing here is you can use this before the amp, and also there's a way to use post effects, okay? So you can have pre-effects here, so your EQ, distortion, there's all the different distortions here. You can EQ, you know, there's everything that you can do here, okay? I tested most of the things that were interesting to me, like the rat pedal here, the govna. Everything seems pretty cool. Everything actually works quite nice. I even tested this out with the Audiority Green Reaper. This one's a tad bit more noisy, but it's not to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to use this. It's fine, right? Obviously, we've got the Marshall, which is a fantastic recreation of the Marshall. You know, I played a real one out there with Henning Pauli, with Chris Jupiter, when we did his Catastrophe video. This sounds fantastic. There's a push and pull with the settings here, okay? So if you move the treble, it's not just necessarily moving treble. It's actually working together with the preamp and all the knobs together, okay? Further on here, we have an extensive cab section. I'm going to be honest here and say up front that this is hands down the weakest part of the suite. It just seems to be a common theme with these suites here, where the pedals are cool, the amps are cool, the IRs just are not what I've come to use. For example, you know, in the Prism platform, I'm just being honest, you know, the IRs just feel a little flat. They're not bad. Like you heard the mix, you can get a great sounding guitar tone. you're going to have to spend some time with the residents and stuff here. It's not, they're just, I don't know. I was underwhelmed with the IRs. They're not terrible. I've definitely played worse. So I'm totally fine, more or less, with the IRs. They're musical. You can get what you want to get done with them. Post effects. Now for the lead guitar, this is where I put the reverb and delay. Makes perfect sense. And then you have the post EQ. If you go up here to the studio section here, this is also pretty neat where you can kind of get a bird's eye view of what you're doing. I find it interesting that you have to have it in this order. If you do not have this EQ at the end, you cannot go back to the suite view. I don't know why. I don't know why that this has to be here. I think that's kind of weird. I don't like being told what my workflow has to be, personally. Also, I talked about this with the JST disruptor. I don't care for these included EQ things because now I have to. So I click once and this thing comes up and I just can't grab the damn thing and do what I want to do with it. I want to grab it, with the shortcuts that I'm used to using with FabFilter. So I experimented with this EQ just to see what it can do. It's cool. I suppose if you made a preset and you spent the time really dialing in the EQ here, you're probably good to go with a preset. For me, I'm not interested. I just turn this off and I use FabFilter in the DAW. It's all, it's nothing against the suite. It's nothing against this EQ. It's just I'm faster, just an order of magnitude faster using FabFilter in the DAW because I don't have to think about it, right? So I'm sort of using it as a glorified chain of pedal into amp into cab, okay? Now with the cab, for example, I have the Marshall Suite, which they also did give me. Just to be up front, they did give me a couple things, but this video is about the Metal Suite. Anything that's included in the Metal Suite is going to be in this drop down here. Now, I made the mistake of just going through down here and scrolling, and everything that's available to me, Marshall Suite included, is down here. And what will happen is if you close and then reopen the session, you're going to get stuck with the load IR option here because the cab that I picked is not part of the Metal Suite. So I noticed that right away, okay? Here it's pretty cool. You get a visual representation of all the different microphones, all the microphones that I would expect to see to make great guitar tones. Thumbs up, all good there. You can go between two different cabs here, blend them left and right. I did not do this because I had two pairs of guitars and I just wanted to use two cabs, okay? But the functionality works fine. I had no problem with it. You have the ability to add some like a power amp oomph into your IR with the punch gain, and you can change the tone and resonance of the IR. We'll go over this when we create a tone here in just a little bit. And then this is just mirrored on the other side. Now, the placement, I'll use this side because there's nothing happening over here. This is kind of wonky. Okay, so you can see me already. I'm trying to do this actually. No, okay, so here we are, right on the cap, right? So if I click and I pull back towards myself on the mouse, I will get this action. Okay, so I'm like pulling the microphone, vertically away from the speaker. But you'll notice here, if I try to put this back, I immediately start getting an angle. I don't want an angle right away, guys. I want to, there should be a key modifier for this because a lot of times I was sitting over here just trying to do this and I'm doing it right now. And I just want to go back and forth like this. And I don't want to have to literally pay attention like I'm playing Quake to make sure my wrist is straight so I can get a straight sweep. Because what always happens eventually is what's happening right now. I don't want this. There should be maybe some sort of key modifier where this is straight. And if I want to get an angle, instead of just pushing the mouse forward, which is fine, I'm okay with, it could still keep this functionality, but maybe I'm pressing like command, or something. So where I go hold command and then I push up and then I get the angle that I want. And then what that also means is I can go back and forth like this and keep the angle, right? Now, it's easier to do it this way because I just keep moving the mouse forward and I keep the angle and I can sweep like this. But there's no way of doing that there's no way of easily doing that. God damn it. really, with the so anyway, there should be a modifier here. This was annoying as hell to deal with. I like the idea. I like the visual representation of where the microphone is on the speaker. I think this is great because speaker is everything. Getting a great IR and getting a great mic position is everything to a great guitar tone. I'm all about it. I think this GUI is cool. I just think there should be some sort of a modifier here. You know, switching cabs, by the way, is easy. The way that I prefer to do it is, I mean, you can click and drag here. I don't think that's indicative to good tone crafting straight away. What you want to be doing is you're trying to find the difference. You know, it teaches in guitar tone mastery, right? I like to just, what I did was I clicked through the cabs quickly like this, just bam, 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 bam. I mean, they look cool. I'm not interested in how they look in the GUI. I'm impressed with the graphics, of course, but this is just extra clicks and moving. I can just go bam, 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 bam. You know, I can just go like this, see what I like. Oh, that pops out. I like that. Let's work with this tone right away. So that's pretty much the GUI of the amp suite itself. I have no complaints with it, really, other than I'm just a little bit disappointed with the IRs. I think they're a little bit flat and two-dimensional. I've already tried it with third-party IRs, and it sounds significantly better. Like, the amps are legitimate, guys. If you, like, this is a fantastic JCM 800. It's really cool when you put for example, one of the Celestion IRs in here or something like that. Like I have Prism here, because I was testing it with a 1960 G12 from Hobo Rec in Prism, and it was just amazing. So this sounds fantastic. You're going to have to do a little bit of work if you want to use the built-in IRs. A couple of other things that were a little weird. The tuner's fine, by the way. Keep in mind, like the mono left input, mono right input, stereo. Is this necessary? I mean, you should just have a mono input or a stereo. Actually what's even more annoying is, like, if I'm trying to record the guitars, I have to have both of these input enabled. And I don't understand why. Because if I just input enable the left one, I think it's the last one. Yeah, I didn't get any sound, so I had to input enable the right one to get the left one sound. Maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. It's just like stereo or mono, and even better yet, like I just talked about with the disruptor, like this is old news. Like the plugin should just automatically understand if it's on a group or a single track. For example, I can do that with Audiority, just put it on the single track or a bus or a group. I don't have to think about it. So getting into here and, still having to click this is a little weird. Okay, so for the guitar tones itself that I make in the mix, let's talk about the mix that I did now. I did what I would do in real life. I don't like Mesa amps, and I don't like PB amps. So my choice was pretty simple. I did a JCM and an angle, which I have done in real life all the time. On the Patreon, I just did live reamping using the JCM 900 with the Angle Savage. So I did the same concept here, right? So the point here with the JCM 800 is you're getting more of a mid-grunty guitar tone, right? Not a lot of gain. So mids, not a lot of gain. And then with the Angle style amp here, that's where all the presence and the treble's coming from. And maybe a bit more bass, but not really worried about the mids here. And then you put them together. So you hear this, right? This is like super presence treble. On its own, doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, the JCM 800, totally mid-grunt, right? So, but the moment I put the JCM 800 together with the Angle style amp, so the JCM gives the body to the Angle, where the Angle is scooped and didn't have that. All right. For EQ, again, very simple. I didn't do anything on the either group tracks. I did all my EQ and everything on one track. And like I say, there were some whistlings and some honks in here. So I had to do a little bit more work than I'm used to doing. But it's the same thing. Here's my super secret EQ move that I always do. You can see a video about that. I talk about that. And I'm just taking away honks and high-end fizziness. So one of the things that I mean about these IRs sometimes is when I say they're a bit two-dimensional and flat, is that there's digitally white noise stuff, is what I would call it. However they decided to capture it, I don't know. It doesn't capture the 3D depth of it. They just I don't know. I don't know. I've never captured an IR before, but it is what it is, and I'm sorry that I keep harping on it. That's just the main thing that I didn't like about this. So the EQ, rather simple. Let me take off the UAD EQ here, and I'm going to leave the L1 just so the volume is the same. So this is my guitar tone without EQ, and you're going to notice immediately there's like a train whistle. Okay, just going to deal with it. And that's just part of those IRs, right? So the train whistle is this mid honk, basically. And then the EQ moves here, clean everything up just fine. You will notice that the IR just becomes more clear. I didn't change the sound of it with the EQ, right? Doesn't work like that. The speaker is the speaker. I'm just cleaning some of this milkiness, this honk, and the whistle out of the way. Now you can hear the guitar tone a bit more clear. And then after this, I have a technique where I use the API to sort of reintroduce some high-end energy back into the guitar tone, and also do a bit more shaping. It sounds a bit like this. So what I'm doing is I went to Hertz Studio. Hertz Studio is those are the guys that recorded Behemoth, Hate, Hour of Penance, Decapitated with VTech back in the day. So, and I was talking with Wojtek, and he was showing me some things on their Neve board that they can do. All of these videos are on the Patreon, by the way, where they add saturation into the tone with the board when they record it. And I was like, damn it, I can do that. And I love API. I can do that with channel script right here. So I'm adding a little bit of saturation right here in the beginning in the mic preamp right here. And then this goes into a sweep filter, which is basically a high pass, low pass, and then the EQ channel right here, right? Now you'll notice that the guitar tone is the same, okay? Please listen carefully. This is with the EQ off. It's nice, it's smooth, okay? But it sounds like there's a pillow on top of it, right? Okay, so the EQ move that I'm doing here, I always do this generally, is a 10 to 12.5 shelf with the API, right? And that just makes it sound significantly more aggressive, right? I also took out a little bit more of the 400 area because the guitars were still a bit muddy, getting in the way of the bass guitar when everything was playing, because you have 4 different guitars, right? And that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't believe in doing a whole shitload of EQ on guitars. Like, I would prefer not to do even this much EQ anymore, but I understand, there's just whistling honks, there are things happening, and you can use dynamic EQ, which I've done here, which is really nice because most of the honks were happening in a certain guitar riff where, like, the A string was droning. All right, fine. So we can use dynamic EQ to bring it down, and then when the A droning riff is not happening anymore, the dynamic EQ goes away. It's fantastic. All this stuff that I'm talking about, guys, is in Guitar Tone Mastery, where I have taught hundreds of people how to do this. Everything is down below in the links down below, okay? So that's all I did for EQ. That's it. 95% of the work went into finding an IR combination that I liked, and then went from there. Because no amount of EQ is going to change what your guitar tone sounds like. Like all this stuff where people are like, oh yeah, I'll just run it through like one of those frequency things that'll do an EQ curve and make me sound like X, Y, Z. It doesn't work that way. All right. It might sound that way, but the EQ has made your guitar sound like crap. All right. Use the speakers. The speakers, get the sound that you most likely want, and then adjust it a little bit. That's the winning ticket right there. So that's pretty much how I used it in the DAW here. Now for the lead guitars, this is where I broke down and used the PB because I was like, well, let's use it. Oh, it's a PB style. I do kind of like this, and I'll go over this. I do enjoy this where you can change how the gain sounds actually with all of these different selections here. Now, I'm calling this a PB style amp because this looks like PB dials to me. If it's not a PB, I'm sure I'll get corrected in the comments. You know, later on in the video here, we're going to go through all the amps and just do some basic tone crafting. Now, for the guitar tone here, the reverb and the delay is all in the plugin. I didn't do anything in Cubase in this particular instance. And then the EQ is a bit more specific for this tone that I came up with, right? So we have let's turn all this off. We have the leads, which are going between playing chords and single note patterns. I'm perfectly fine with how that sounds. I like the little squeakiness on the attack. I personally enjoy that. No worries there. Perfect note definition. Everything's totally audible. No worries. And it's just what I did is I picked a gain structure that had enough like boost to it, but still had note clarity. I brought the gain down, jacked the bass in the middle, turned down the presence and treble, and then same thing as always. I had to do a little bit of honk, and brought the treble down a little bit with the white noise that was mostly a problem during. Oof, that one's painful. This one is just rough. And then the UAD here is once again just doing a little bit of pushing this thing to make it a little bit hotter. Okay, all right. So that's what I did in the mix. All right, so let's switch gears here and let's make a new session. And I will show you guys just some bits of the plugin. Let's look at some of the amp tones. Again, pretty quick. Let's just go through some of the amps, see what kind of sounds we can make here. All right, so this is what it looks like when you just load it, and that's what it sounds like. I mean, I can't complain, even though it's a PB, right? So we got a couple things here. This is not enabled, just so you know. But this is enabled. You know, a lot of things. It comes with a preset, you know, pretty much dialed in. By the way, I do enjoy that the American Class A is in here. I do have the American Class A. It's a great plugin. Fantastic plugin. All right. But please be aware that this is how the plugin comes loaded. So you're going to need to actually clear everything out here. And once you clear everything out, things change a little. Okay, you want to always start with at least one cab. Okay, one cab with, by the way, if you press Option or Alt, I guess, everything goes to nominal settings here. And that's what you want, okay? Because you want to hear what the actual thing sounds like. Okay, it sounds impressive, of course. When you load it and it's all been doctored up a little bit, this is what it actually sounds like stock. Okay, so I mean, I'm not trying to make anything sound like crap on purpose. I'm just saying, like this, just bear in mind that this is how things should start. This is how you should start everything, okay? And what I would do, because I'm me, the first thing I would do is I would replace this friggin' thing with this bad boy. And change the IRs, because this is dark. You want to see if we can add some presence into the IRs. And to the shock of absolutely nobody, the angle amp is going to add some balls for us. So what I would do now see, this is the okay. Now, still pretty dark. Now, you would think, oh yeah, just go to the amp now. No, use these resonance and tone knobs. Okay, now that sounds a bit closer to what I want. Now, let's go in and let's add an overdrive. Okay, drive down, level like that. I brought the resonance back down because I'm trying to avoid the glassy stuff. I freaking hate glassy guitar tones. Gent is not music. Okay, now I will literally just do the guitar tone mastery sequence. That's not bad. Okay. I'm just, just let me prove my point, I guess. And this is nothing against Softube, okay, or whoever worked on the on this product, okay. This is just a typical situation. Let's see, what were we using? I don't even know what this is. Let's call it maybe an XXL cab, I guess. Yeah, let's call it an XXL. And let's do this one, okay? So listen carefully to the 3D-ness of it. So tinny and scratchy, okay? But that sounds awesome. So metal amp suit's fantastic. You're just gonna have to basically get third-party IRs. All right. So let's bite the bullet and look at this freaking Mesa. Oh my god. Okay. So let's just do the Mesa with the American amplification. It's just okay. Oops, I'm on the wrong channel. Nope. That sounds pretty good. Let's do without the cab. That just sounds way better. I mean, just the 3D is there. Okay. I mean, this is cool. I mean, it's not... It seems to... I don't know what this mod means. It doesn't... It's something feels like... This sounds like this has already been a... fixed. Not fixed. Hold on, let me see. No Mesa's that tight. I mean, this sounds... I like this. This sounds better, actually, than what I thought it would. Because it doesn't really sound like a traditional Mesa to me. All right. Let's do the Marshall. Yeah. So I don't get screwed over here. All right, so the Marshall, there's a couple things you need to do. A, you need to drive the shit out of it. Like this. And you need to crank the preamp. You're just going to get a kind of a soft... I almost want to say spongy, but that's not quite what I mean. Now you'll notice here, when I crank the presence, watch what happens. So the whole characteristic of the amp changes, which is what I was talking about earlier in the video. So it's pretty cool. You got to be careful with what you're doing. Now, you could scoot this even more. You have to put it in like the right spot for the plugin to be like, oh yeah, we can do that. Kind of annoying. So let's push the gain ridiculous. So you can push the hell out of this, okay? The last thing I want to go over is the Vildsint here. Let's put the drive on. Okay, and what I was talking about earlier is this changes the tonal aspect of the amp. Wow, that's super pushed. You don't even need a boost for that. Wow, all the attack. But this is interesting. You can change how everything sounds just with these things here first. I would highly recommend you go through these to see which ones you like. I'd pretty much stay here. Because it has the presence boost that I particularly like. Let's see what this would sound like with Prism. Yeah, impressive. Sounds good. So let me give you my final words about this. If you're looking for, I don't want to say all in one because you need to have third-party IRs to really make the most out of these amps. And I'm sorry to keep saying that. Softube, nothing personal. I'm sure you worked hard on it. Also, I don't know why everything has to be so rigid here. I don't know why it has to be like this for me to go back into the suite. What if I don't want this at all? Look, now I can't go back to the suite because I have to have it in this configuration. Why? What is that? Did I break something in the suite if I don't have it like this? What if I don't want the EQ in there, right? And I personally don't. However, I might be in the minority where someone might be like, oh, damn, that's freaking great. Let me throw the EQ in there. Let me throw it in there, right? And then, hell, I want to, what is this? The compressor. Or I can put the EQ right here, right? You can have an EQ, throw the compressor in here. You can do EQ into compressor, which I highly recommend personally. With this being like the finalizer and all that stuff, that's all great. And that's all down here. You can see everything. The Class A plugins are amazing, by the way. I love them. I bought it. I have it. It's a great API plugin. I'm an API fan particularly, so I'm happy to see API in here. So I'm happy about that. So this can work if you're willing to do all the presets and if you're looking to do preset stuff. Me reamping clients and stuff like that, this is just not gonna. I'm gonna be reamping and using FabFilter personally. But what's stopping me from saying one stop solution is the IRs, unfortunately. But other than that, for what it does, I really like the JCM 800. This is a fantastic replication of it, kind of worth it on its own, to be honest with you. Vildsint, actually pretty cool. The American MainStayer, I don't know how realistic that is to a real dual rec. All the real dual recs I've played are not tight like that. They are big booty low ends, and that's one of the reasons I can't stand them personally, because they're not tight and compressed in the low end. So I don't know what that is in particular. Sounds good. The angle obviously sounds good. So all 4 options here sound fantastic, and just pick a great IR and you'll have a good result. So as you heard in the demo song, which again, everything you heard in the demo song is from the suite. I didn't use any third-party IRs or anything like that. Okay. Once again, thanks to Softube for sponsoring this video. Link down below to the metal amp sweep. It is not an affiliate link. I don't receive any commissions from any sale of this plugin, just so you guys know. Okay. Alrighty. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Click the link below if you want to check it out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.